Talk about the good on-field stuff in high school football in the state of Mississippi coming up in the next segment. Will East will join us for the final half hour of the 3 o'clock hour as we look at the first full night of high school football in the state of Mississippi. But Mississippi high school football went viral last night. I did a quick Google search. I Googled a name. I Googled Jimbo Nowell. And the stories from across the country. There's one from the New York Post, The Comeback, AL.com, Saturday Down South, Dark Horse Press Now, Total Pro Sports, 107.9 iShot, MSN. Hey, there we are, SuperTalk.fm. Hey. The list goes on and on. What are we talking about? Last night, there was a football game. Thursday night game. You have a lot of those in the state of Mississippi, especially at the beginning of the season. Wayne County hosting. Who are they hosting? Who's the opponent last night?
Quitman.
Okay, Wayne County and Quitman. There we go.
Panthers.
And that game was happening on the field at Wayne County Stadium. During the Wayne County Quitman game, there was an observer, Jim Nowell, or Noel, if I'm mispronouncing it, forgive me. High school football coach at Heidelberg, 2A school, just doing a little scouting, checking out what was going on in the field, except for the fact that he wasn't just doing a little bit of scouting. He was taunting, profanely taunting from like 20 rows up in the stands, the players and the teams on the field. How do I know this? I wasn't there, but there's video of it. And there was a fan a few rows down in front of him who had enough. Jim Nowell was scouting Quitman, by the way. That's their opponent next week, Heidelberg's opponent. And the fan had enough and basically told him to shut up. At which point, Coach Nowell told him, "I'll kick your bleep." At which point, the fan basically, and I'm just paraphrasing and kind of filling in the gaps there, kind of looked at him and said, "Well, how big a boy are you?"
Yeah.
Actually, he said, "Well, come on out in the parking lot and do it." And he heads for the aisle. And
no hesitation.
Jim Nowell, a high school football coach whose team is playing Quitman next week. And by the way, had the high ground.
Gave up the high ground.
Goes down the steps. And then pauses as if he's not sure exactly what's about to happen. Well, the guy with the low ground took advantage of the guy who gave up the high ground. He went low, grabbed both legs, lifted him up, drove him into the stairs and the stair rail, and proceeded. He proceeded to go Nolan Ryan, Robin Ventura. Boom, 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 boom. Over and over and over and over.
He who hesitates is lost.
It's eventually broken up. The fan, I don't know if we've got his name, kind of goes back to his seat. Security, which is a few rows down from where the altercation happened, security starts to drag Coach Nowell out of the stands, and he stops and says something to the fan with which he was just in an altercation, which was almost like, ding, round two. 3 more pop shots. Boom, boom, boom. And then they dragged him out, separated them, and the other fan was taken out shortly thereafter as well. What in the you-know-what are we talking about right now?
Embarrassment.
You've got, and look,
hilarity.
Jim Nowell may be a fantastic human being. I don't get that impression from the small clip that I saw last night. He's former strength coach at Mississippi State. He was on the strength staff at LSU. He's been a high school football coach in multiple places. Doesn't appear to be for an extended amount of time in each of those places. Entering his second year at Heidelberg.
It's got a really funny text message. I don't think I can read it, though.
And if you read the story where the sports editor, Josh Beasley, at the Laurel Leader Call, puts in there, you get down to a point where it says that police say that you could smell a strong stench of alcohol in the breath of Jim Nowell as well. Now, can't prove that. Certainly I can't. I'm just going based on what police said and was reported by the sports editor at the Laurel Leader Call. So what you're telling me is you have a high school football coach who got into the sauce before he went to a game, proceeded to scream obscenities at the teams that were playing on the field while wearing the T-shirt of his team, Heidelberg, right there across the top, just for anybody and everybody to see. Gets told to shut up by another fan, deservedly so, by the way, calls him out, and the fan takes him up on being called out, and now walks out of the stadium with a bloody nose and perhaps not a job for much longer.
Oof.
For the record, Jim Nowell got everything he deserved last night. I'm not advocating that grown adult men over the age of 50 who are balding and overweight should be fighting on the metal bleachers of high school football games on Thursday nights at the beginning of the season. But sometimes you get what you deserve. And unless there's more to the story than we know, but the video kind of tells the story, Nowell got what he deserved last night.
I don't know what more there can be to the story. I don't know what else there is to be. It's right there. Leader of men. Supposed to be a role model a little bit, you know.
Yeah. And by the way, he's been suspended by the Heidelberg School Board, which is the least of what needs to happen. There is no way.
Can't come back from this.
Look, I don't know the members of the Heidelberg School Board. I'm sure they're going to do an investigation. They got to make a decision. There is no way you can bring Jim Nowell back to coach that football team. What are you saying to those kids? Yeah. What are you telling them is okay?
Yeah, and that was the first thing I thought of. I mean, aside from the fact that that's a South Park skit in real life.
It really is. Get my shirt off here. Do this.
I mean, I kind of felt like a stick in the mud because everybody was laughing about it on Twitter. Oh my gosh, you see this? This is crazy. My thought was that's not crazy. It's sad. It's profoundly sad because.
I'm sorry. I got to tell this one I'm going to read. Getting in a fight in Wayne County is almost a win in Rome type situation.
Yeah, but you better know what you're getting into.
You better be ready to fight.
Into a fight in Wayne County.
Gosh almighty.
I found it's just sad. It's sad for him because an adult is so fragile that he feels like he has to do that in public. I mean, when somebody acts like that in public, you hope that was a one-off and not an indicator of worse that happens in private. But I don't know about you. I was on a rather large, pretty diverse high school football team. We had rich kids. We had poor kids. We had kids from different backgrounds, races, everything. That's your typical football team. Usually, it's a pretty diverse group of people, whether economic backgrounds or whatever. And when you have a large group of young boys, you are absolutely going to have some that don't have a father at all, or ones that are not in the home, don't exist, absent fathers or worse. And a football coach can become an example for you to learn how to become a man. There were kids on my high school team that did not, a couple of them that did not have, one had a father in prison, another one didn't know who his father was, and our coaches kind of took them in and kind of raised them, taught them how to be men. And you have a football team that I'm sure some of his players look to him for guidance and leadership, and that is the example they get. And that made me really sad. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of a stick in the mud with that, but that it reminded me of a couple of my old teammates and what they needed their high school football coach to be for them. And to see that happen, it made me sad because there's a good chance that there's kids on his team that look up to him, and that's what they saw. And it's a shame.
Yes, that is the far more serious approach to this, and everything you said is accurate. 100%. Don't disagree with anything that you said. I stand by the fact that Heidelberg cannot move forward with this man as its head football coach.
No, that's not.
And MHSAA has, I don't know what the school board did, but MHSAA has suspended him as well. You got to fire him. And I'm not big on calling for people's jobs.